Hi YouTube friends. So today I am quilting the triple Irish chain quilt. This is a free pattern and I learned about this on Coriander Quilts. She had like a little quilt along and it's probably still going on. You're not too late. I haven't watched any of her recent videos, but it's possible that she is still doing the quilt along. I totally enjoyed making this, and then I got to the part where I needed to quilt it, and I had two options. I could either custom quilt this, and I forget how big this is. It's pretty big. I've got this on a 108 backing, and so there's 4 inches, so there's about 6 inches on each end, so it's probably 90 something by 90 something. I did not want to tie up my frame and custom quilt this. As much as I want to, I don't have the time. So I was tasked with selecting an appropriate pantograph to where I could somewhat speedily quilt this and move on to the next quilt. I got out all my geometric, I got out every pantograph I had, and I eliminated the ones that I just don't like and would never use, like moose and log cabins. That would not be conducive to this quilt. It's more of a feminine, curvy, loop-de-loop type style in my opinion, because I've got pink and yellows, and even though it does have blue, but at the same time I didn't want it to be very feminine to where this might come into the possession of a man one day, and I don't, even though it's got pink in it, I don't want it to be a feminine thing in the quilting. And I narrowed it down to dragonflies, and the reason why I chose dragonflies is because the backing is got little sprigs of flowers, and it reminded me I could either go butterflies, and it was a toss-up, butterflies or dragonflies. And I have used this pantograph before. I was not that thrilled with it the last time I used it because I really followed the lines, and the lines are more accurate, and it just is very hard to stitch it out how they have it, and I will show you that in a minute. My butterflies, I think the pattern's called papillon, which is French for butterfly. It has beautiful butterflies on it, but they do this funny curly-cue thing, and I've quilted that once before, and I just decided I didn't want to do that. So I went ahead and selected this one. I love how it shows up in the negative space. It's fantastic. My quilting's not perfect on the pantograph, and that's okay, and it doesn't really show up. It hardly, you can't even tell it on the color. In the white, you can tell what design you have, and I'm really liking that I selected this. So one of my rules, whenever I pick a pantograph, I want to know how many bobbins to wind, and so I take kind of a stopwatch timer, and from one end to the other, I make a pass, and then I time it. And then I know, okay, this pass will take me this long. And then I keep track of, okay, 1.5 passes is 1 bobbin. So that gives me an idea of how many bobbins I need to wind. Usually on a quilt this size, I will wind 5 or 6 bobbins and may or may not have any left over and may have to wind more bobbins, which is neither here nor there. But I do like to do those two things because all pantographs are not created equal. If you are doing this as a business and want to make money at your hobby, you are probably not going to want to have pantographs like this because this is very detailed, and I don't remember now how long this took me. I'll put that in a comment. But ideally, you want to make your sweeps, and you want them easy and you want them fast. And because the faster you do this, with quality, mind you, the more money you're going to make. And so there's just certain pantographs that are not suitable. And let me get one out. Got a couple good examples. Here's the butterfly one. This is a beautiful pattern quilted out, but I just do not like these tails. One's curlicue and one's not, so it looks like you didn't quilt it right. There's just something about this. It's fine for some things. I just did not want to use this on this pattern. If you look, the pattern would fill the negative space nicely, and I didn't want it to fill just that negative space. I wanted more quilting, so that's why I did not go with this one. This one is a quick pattern, probably way quicker than this other one. So, and by the way, this is how I store my pantographs. I take a pin and I pin the corner and keep them rolled up. This one I almost selected, but this one has a very, very feminine feel. 1. 2, this is very linear. I wanted something that would undulate on the quilt to where you would not see the specific lines. This one undulates very little. So here's my pattern. It goes up, and then the main body of it, and then it goes up, and then the main body of it. This one would have been fine. I find that this pattern is very, very hard for me to use. I've used this stitching pattern about 3 times, and I can't ever seem to get this portion right where it looks like it's symmetrical in the quilt. So I did not use this one. Here's a great example of one that would be very fast. I have used this one other time, and what I found hard about this one is making the points and stopping and starting. Straight lines are hard enough at the front of the quilt with a ruler. At the back, when you are not using a stylus, you're just using a laser pointer, which that's how my machine works. This is a very hard pattern to do. Have I done charity patterns for this, or charity quilts for this? Yes, I have practiced using it. I just need to get more practice on patterns like this before I can use them. And we have this one. I almost selected this one, but this is a perfect pattern for this quilt, but in my opinion, these swoops are too big. If it would be about that size, that'd be ideal. This is a very, very quick, this is way quick of a pattern to quilt out for making money. This is called bubble wrap, and I got this at urbanelements.com, and I'll put a link to that below. I'm not affiliated. They have all different kinds of ways to search up their pantographs. That's why I like that website. You don't get hung up on how the website's designed. It's a great website. So I went with this one. I'm very happy that I did. I think the size of the scale of this versus the size and the scale of the squares is just perfect. Do I regret not custom quilting this? No, because I don't have time. If I had time, I would do melons or little, I don't know what that's called. I would do little bumps on all of this, and I would have fun with it, and then probably do a feather medallion right here. But I just don't have the time. So let's go to the back of the machine. Okay, this is an older pattern. It's by the Quilted Rose, which was made in 2000. Right there. Focus. There it went. If you look at the dragonfly bodies, first of all, I learned the last time I did this pattern not to mess with the antennas because none of that shows up, and it makes it look like a scribble. And it makes it really hard for you to go bump, 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 and get this line back even with each other. So I don't even bother quilting the little antenna. But if you look at the back, the front of the body right here is squarish, and the back of the body is squarish, and it's not symmetrical. And I don't know, I don't like that. So most of these are like that. And it kind of makes it look like it was sloppily drawn. I don't know. But what I like about this pattern is the repeat is very, very wide. So we've got this all the way at the end of the frame. And then I come down, and that's about 36 inches. And then I have this one. So it's a 36-inch approximate repeat. That is why I like this one. And again, it undulates up and then down, up, down, up, down. That's what I like about it.